Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And folks, many people have been called upon to serve our great nation. Some have chosen to do so, and some were chosen. My next guest, it was a little bit of both. He did not have an easy childhood, but he arose from adversity to serve America in the armed forces and later in the Department of Defense with a very high security clearance. And now he's been called upon to serve America yet again, this time to take on a QAnon conspiracy theorist in our House of Representatives and defeat her in a heavily trumped up district. Does he believe he's up to the task? We'll find out when we talk to my next guest, congressional candidate for Georgia's 14th district, Marcus Flowers. Marcus, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, BDD. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you and your guest.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, first things first, you should know before we get started, I do like to bring some hard-hitting questions, and sometimes I like to put them up front. So the very first hard-hitting question for you is this. What's the deal with the cowboy hat?
You mean this cowboy hat?
Yes, indeed. Yes. What's the story? I know there's got to be some story behind it.
All right. I mean, there is a story. Now, and I tell this, I set it up with my granddaddy was a farmer and a sheriff in rural Alabama way back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So he was someone that, I kind of looked up to, a really, really big man. And I'd see him out with his black cowboy hat. Most of the time I'd see him with the sheriff's hat because that was his job. But I'd see him out at the farm with his cowboy hat on. And to me, he was a giant, someone that I really, really looked up to, big man, really serious, stern man. And I wanted to be, like him. This is how I honor him. He died when I was a kid, but this is my way of honoring him. And my father also wore cowboy hats as well. So it's not that great of a story, but that's where it comes from.
Actually, it is. It is a great story because he made a firm, strong impression upon you. And I mean, you already, from what little I know of you over the past year that I've seen your tweets and I've seen your videos, you've made a strong impression upon me too. And not just because of the cowboy hat, but the things you've said, your temperament, everything else, even if you weren't contrasted against an unhinged candidate opponent, let's leave it at that. I like what you have to say, and I like your being. I like your vibe.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Just like a normal guy. It's me.
Yeah. So now I also have in my notes that you hail from Rome, Georgia. Is that right? Whoops.
Originally from Troy, Alabama, but Rome is our headquarters. I live just south of Rome in a town called Bremen, but that's our headquarters. That's the seat of our district, Rome.
So I'd assume then that you have a fairly decent knowledge of the history of Rome?
A decent knowledge, yes.
Okay, so can you tell me how many days did it take to build Rome?
Well, it wasn't built in a day, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
More than a day.
Okay. Well played. Now, if I were to visit Rome, what should I do when I'm in Rome?
Well, you should come down to our campaign headquarters. We're right next door to a pizza shop and other bars. I mean, the clock tower in Rome, there's a magnificent story there. It's where they pumped all the water and put out one of the big fires in Rome. I mean, and there's so much to do throughout our district, though. I mean, Northwest Georgia, it's beautiful. I mean, we've got great state parks, beautiful scenes, Lookout Mountain, we're right next to Chattanooga at the very top part of our district. I mean, there's so much to do and see here. So many great museums, great people, and the food. If you like Southern cooking, come to Georgia. We got it.
Okay, so then basically, when I'm in Rome, I should just do as the Romans do.
The Romans do. There you go. Do as the Romans.
Sorry, I can't help myself. It's there.
It's right there on the tip. I mean,
Indeed. Okay, so in all seriousness now, where in Georgia did you grow up?
Again, I grew up in Alabama. That's in my family. Most of my family moved here to Georgia. At the age of 18, I joined the Army, and went to school in Alabama for a while I was in the reserves. After about 2 years of that, I left the reserves and went to active duty. So my first active duty assignment was in Germany. I was stationed at an intelligence listening post in Germany. So I spent the next 20 years almost overseas, all over Europe, the Balkans, Bosnia, Kosovo, Macedonia, Albania. I did tours there. Then I left that, and I spent about the next 6 years in Iraq, and then another 4 years in Afghanistan. I did humanitarian efforts in Sudan. So I was all over the place for 20 years. And I came back, bought a house in Georgia in 2012, came back to the States in 2014 from deployments overseas. As soon as I got back, the Department of Defense sent me out to Oklahoma. I kept the house here. I moved back in 2018. So
what made you join the armed forces?
Well, that's a story that goes back to when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And one of my grandfather's sons, one of my uncles, was in the Army. And he came home from Germany, as a matter of fact. And I saw him wearing his BDU. So this was like right after the battle dress uniform came out, the camouflage gear. And I saw him wearing that. And my cousin and I were talking. And I was like, what's that he's wearing? And he was a kid at the time. He's like, yeah, that's his uniform. He's in the Army, blah, blah, blah. And, I just thought my uncle was pretty cool. I'd never really seen him before because he'd been overseas for a while as well. And I said, well, that's what I want to do. I want to be a soldier. And it stuck with me all the way through school. I did JROTC in high school and I had a great sergeant major in JROTC who was a Vietnam veteran. He molded me, and there was no doubt I was going into the military. It's what I always wanted to do.
It is impressive.
I didn't know it was about service. I just thought, this is great. My uncle, he's cool. Another person in my family that I looked up to.
Yeah.
Wanted to be like him. So.
And I'm sure, his whole, when you're in the military and you wear the uniform, everything is polished, everything is creased and ironed and shined. And
right? When you're in the field, but yeah.
Now you moved into from your story, what I understand is you moved into a children's home when you were about 11
years old.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean, that had to be kind of traumatic for you to deal with.
I mean, it was we faced some pretty tough times. Grew up in poverty, single mom. My dad was away at the time. We later hooked back up, but we went through some tough times there for a while, and I ended up in a children's home. At first, it was kind of scary. You're a kid. You're 11 years old.
Yeah.
You don't really know what to expect. And when I get there, of course, there was, other kids who, going to public school who'd make fun of me for, not having great shoes or clothes and not having my parents around. So I learned how to deal with bullies. I'd learned how to deal with bullies a little bit before that, but that's something I had to deal with. So I always hated bullies. Always hated them.
Mm-hmm.
But I settled in, and the kids there, they became my brothers and sisters. Kids from all different backgrounds. Black kids, white kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids. We became a family, and in quick order. So it became home to me, and the people there were great. I mean, I was really lucky to be in a situation at a home where, so many people there were just great people, and they loved me and I loved them. So they helped mold me. So everything that I went through in my past, poverty to living in a children's home to being in the military, made me the man I am today, and I'm appreciative of all of those influences that I had. Even my grandfather, who died when I was 11 years old, he was an influence in my life. And my uncle, who served in the military, and I've got several uncles who were also law enforcement, who followed my granddaddy's footsteps. They became police captains. These are the men that I looked up to, even when I wasn't around them. It made me who I am today. And my dad, when he came back into my life later, I mean, he was a school teacher for 31 years in this district. So, this was home. So,
you ever go back to that little children's home and just talk to the kids there?
I do. And some of those same adults that raised me there are still there, and I talk with them. So we keep that relationship open. I wouldn't say like mothers, they're like aunts to me, and uncles. I still keep in touch with some of the kids that, well, they're not kids anymore, they're my age, but some of the people that were there with me, they're my brothers and sisters. Something that bond, we have that for life. It'll never be broken. So,
that's very cool. Very cool. Now let me ask you about where you live right in Georgia right now. Do you guys have the department store Marshalls there?
Yes. Yes. I already know where this is going, but yeah, we have. Saw it right off.
So, do they have? Does Marshalls have a law there?
I mean, I guess if you buy something that you put on, you got to keep it. I guess I don't know what the Marshall law is, but because
I'm so
I haven't
sorry.
shopped there since I was a kid.
All right. So let me actually on a serious tip.
Right.
A while back, you did attempt to visit or see Marjorie Taylor Greene in one of her events. Right. It was like an America First event in Dalton. Now, what I want to know is, why did you want to see her, and what happened between you and her big, massive Viking of a bodyguard?
All right. So the reason I went to that rally, multiple reasons. Number one is I wanted to hear what she was saying for myself. I wanted to put eyes on her, hear it for myself, because that's one of the things I do. I listen to people. I wanted to hear it for myself and kind of gauge her to see if she was a true believer or if this was some kind of Southern strategy on steroids. That was my one intention. The second, if given the opportunity, I would have told her, look, this is what you're going to do, be divisive, try and divide us, try and rob people of their sense of community, not do the job that we sent you to Congress to do. I'm going to need you to resign and let someone who wants to serve do the job.
Did you actually tell her that?
I didn't get to see her. They kicked me out. They bounced me out of there as soon as they saw me. So,
really?
I walk in, I go to the concession stand to grab a Gatorade, and our good friend, the Viking, comes over and says, the party of Marjorie Taylor Greene feels like you're a threat. We're going to need you to leave.
Dude, you didn't even say one word. Nope. She profiled you.
Indeed. I guess she had her little birdies out on the outside of the building who spotted me coming in, and they were calling me by my name, and I guess the cameras all swarmed in, and I just kind of walked on to get some concessions, and you saw the rest. That's how it transpired.
So, okay. So at this point, you had already officially announced that you were running then? Is that why she was so defensive?
I'd already announced.
Okay. Okay. Still kind of, she was at that point, she was your representative.
Still is. So, I guess back in the old days, I think politicians would go to each other's events and, size each other up. I guess they don't want that anymore. That's frowned upon in this establishment. So
it's a damn shame. What is the deal with your senior advisor, Max?
Well, Max is a good old boy. I'll tell you that right now. He only got 3 legs, but that's not stopping him from doing the job.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Max, I do have some footage here. Marcus, do you mind if I play this?
I don't mind at all.
Here we go. This is Max.
Hi, I'm Marcus Flowers, the Army veteran and Democrat running to unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia. This is my best friend, Max. We've been together for 91 dog years. He has 3 legs, and we do just about everything together. So when we launched this campaign, I decided to name him Senior Advisor.
Max has a paw on every aspect of the campaign process.
All right, guys. Who keeps getting into the flyers? And that's why I'll always work for better healthcare, rural broadband, and most importantly, universal dog treats for all.
Cut! Who's adding these dog lines to the script?
Max takes this title very seriously.
She's not kidding.
This is like the one thing he wants.
Literally, this is the biggest picture that we could print.
Well, what do you think? He won't even look at it.
I think everybody likes Max. He's well respected within the campaign.
He's
fun.
He may not be your typical senior advisor, but he's always been there for me, and I've got his back. All kidding aside, we're building a movement to unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene here in Georgia, and our campaign is fueled by grassroots donations like yours. So please chip in whatever you can and help us restore honor, decency, and integrity to Congress. Thank you.
That was very funny.
Max can't spell, and he's not a good policy advisor, but I can tell you that. He's a good guy, though.
I'll tell you, I've seen that video probably about 5 times. It still cracks me up.
A little tongue in cheek. We would have a little fun with it, man. That's that's always important.
I have here the website for your campaign. Is this right? MarcusForGeorgia.com.
That's correct.
Okay, folks. Help Marcus defeat Marjorie Taylor Greene. We still have a ways to go. I just want to make sure those of you who are just kind of cutting through the video, make sure you go to this website without fail. Yeah.
So we appreciate it.
Now, Marcus, tell me, what are some of the main issues that you are focused on that are specific to Georgians? What are some things that Georgians care about that you are running on?
That's a good question, because actually I get out on the doors and I talk to people every day. And we talk about the issues. One of the biggest issues we're facing right here in this district, and people are talking about it all the time, housing. Talking about prescription drugs. They're talking about education. They're talking about crime. They're talking about, and this one is one of the big ones that I care about as well, taking care of our seniors. These are the things that I hear on the doors. But we also talk about voting rights, and we talk about things that are going on recently, like Roe. So, these voters are aware of what's going on, and a lot of them are frustrated by lack of leadership, lack of service that they're getting. Our current congresswoman doesn't even have an office here in the district. I don't think she's done any constituent services. So people are talking about all of these issues, and they're up on what's going on. They're getting tired of inaction. They want effective and efficient governance. And we talk about it every day on the doors. We knock a
How
lot.
many doors are you hitting on average per day?
Well, I know we've hit close to 40,000 doors so far. We've knocked on, and that's since the year I've been in. We've knocked a little bit over 40,000 at this point.
Really?
So it averages anywhere. I probably myself hit anywhere from 50 to 100 doors a day. So when I'm out, so that's a lot of walking, a lot of miles. We get all over the district. So people are seeing me out there. I'm interviewing for the job, so I got to go talk to the people.
Wow.
I got to hear what they want to see out of their representative. So we're getting
what kind of reception do you get from? Because I'm assuming you're not just going into like safe areas within the district. You're going into like areas, Trump areas too. What kind of reception are you getting from Trump supporters?
We're going everywhere. Look, and I'm going to tell you, when I go to a door, I don't always know if I'm talking to a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican. I don't always know that information.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the door, and for I'd say 98 to 99% of the time, people are warm and welcoming. And that's exactly what I expected, because the people here are kind, generous, and caring people. Southern hospitality, we say that for a reason. That is a thing. You don't hear that much anymore, but that's how people are here. These are the people that'll wave at you as you're driving by, or they're driving by in their car, even if they don't know you. It's a wave. I'm the same way. These are my neighbors. We're a community, and we've lost that sense of community lately with, all the white hot rhetoric in our politics, and people are feeling that with COVID. People have lost that sense of community. I hear all the time. Another thing is that people want that sense of community again. They're tired of all the division. You hear that on both sides of the aisle. Even when I'm talking to a Trump supporter or someone who said they voted for Greene before, a lot of times what I hear from them is, we're embarrassed by her. This isn't what we expected. And a lot of people don't know how she really went about getting elected. And we'll sit down and we'll tell that story, and I'll share it with you. She swooped in. She was running in Lucy McBath's district before in that primary. When Tom Graves, our former representative, retired, all of a sudden, she came in and basically bought the primary to the tune of $1.5 million of her own money against a neurosurgeon who probably only raised about $100,000 or so in his primary. So she comes in, she wins, puts up commercials in the district. He couldn't combat that kind of money. And, she didn't come off as super, for lack of a better word, crazy. And then the Democrat who was running against her, had some personal issues, ran into some intimidation, and had issues with his wife or whatever. And he dropped out of the race, and the Secretary of State would not let the Democrats field another candidate, which at that point in time, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. So she ran unopposed. A lot of people didn't know that. And we share that story. I've had Republicans come to me and say, after the primary, I'm not going to vote in the Democratic primary for you, but if you're the candidate and she's the candidate, we're voting for you. I hear that all the time. I hear it all the time.
Let me ask you this number wise, because I've seen, I'm on Twitter a lot throughout the day. Right. And, there's some people who are like, you know what? I want to support Marcus Flowers, but I don't know if he has a good shot at winning. I'm seeing this a lot. So I need to know from you, what do you think? Where do you figure your chances at beating her in, like I said, the 14th district? That's a heavily populated Trump district. What do you think? Where do you put your chances at beating her?
Oh, I think we have a great chance. And I don't concern myself with PVI numbers. I've heard it from everyone, oh, this is a red plus whatever district. Well, so what? What's the alternative? Not put up a fight? I got into this race to remove a threat from our democracy. That threat is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a threat. She is dangerous. I spent my career fighting against misinformation, disinformation, and radicalization. This is no different. No different.
Speaking of the extremism and radicalism, how big of a problem right now is disinformation in America, and how do we defeat it? I know you spent a lot of your time in the military focused on that. How do we defeat it?
We've got to combat it with the truth, and we've got to get to a point in this country where we can agree on facts and the truth. I mean, we've seen this playbook used before by Vladimir Putin. I've seen it in active combat zones. I mean, if you think about it this way, what do you think it takes for a person to put on a suicide vest just to go blow up someone? That doesn't happen in a vacuum. That takes a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and outright lies to get that person to that point. That's really what we're up against, people. We've got to push back on these things. We all saw what happened on January 6th, and I know everybody has their own feelings about it. But for me, watching police officers being beaten with an American flag while a Confederate battle flag was being paraded through our Capitol Rotunda, something that hasn't happened since 1814, another flag paraded through our rotunda. We're at a dangerous place, and I saw this coming. We were headed down a dark and dangerous path with all of the misinformation and disinformation and lies out there, flooding the zone, making it so difficult for people to see the forest because you got the trees right in front of them. Got to push back against that, and I'm working every day to try and get the truth out there. We've got to do that. We've got to push back on the lies and not let them go unchecked. Point it out for what it is. Call it out at every turn. I'm here to do that. I'm going to be that voice that removes at least one of these threats from our democracy, and that's green.
Indeed. So in the years that you had a top level security clearance for the DOD, had you ever come across anything like space lasers, anything?
Let me see. If I had, it'd be classified, and I couldn't tell you about it.
I have a question here from one of our viewers. His name is Jonathan Slater, and he would like to know, he says, you served honorably for 9 years. What lessons did you take with you from such committed patriotism?
The Army taught me a lot of things. And selfless service is one of the big things. Serving and being a part of something larger than yourself. It's not all about you. For me, it was all about service. Having courage, having integrity to do the right thing, even when no one's looking. Do the right thing. Be who you say you're going to be, and that's it.
That's solid. When we were on, and I'm sorry, when we were on the whole misinformation thing, I did want to mention, I tweeted just before our show that that I was going to ask you what you thought about the possibility of Elon Musk bringing Donald Trump back on the Twitter platform. Do you feel how do you feel? Do you feel like that's a threat? Is it like a raised threat for more disinformation, or what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, we know people like Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're like the kings and queens of disinformation. I mean, Trump's still spouting the big lie. I mean, that's how he got kicked off the platform in the first place. Now, I can't tell Elon Musk, if he ends up owning Twitter, what to do with this platform. But I will say, bringing Trump back on would be spreading more misinformation and disinformation and injecting lies into the bloodstream in our, public square. We don't need that there. It's time for some truth and honesty. That's, there was a good reason why he was kicked off. He incited an insurrection. Full stop.
Are you encountering a lot of people who actually still believe that he actually won?
A few here and there. I'll come up to people, and an interesting conversation I had with a lady, and she was a Republican, and she told me, she found out who I was, and we just sat and had a conversation. It was about a 10-minute conversation. This is what happens sometimes. I'll sit down and talk with people, and she said, "Well, there's nothing you can do to convince me that the election wasn't stolen." And I push back. I don't pull punches in situations like that. I'm like, oh man, no, you're wrong, and I'm sorry. The election wasn't stolen. Definitely not here in Georgia or anywhere else in the country. It was the most secure election of our lifetime. Still couldn't convince her. She was convinced by the misinformation and disinformation. That's a hard thing to push back against.
Mm-hmm.
But the end of that conversation, she says, well, you seem like a nice person. I'll vote for you. But she still believes in the big lie.
Interesting.
It's one of those conversations that I had here, you know. But, for the most people that I talk to, I will say a lot of them don't believe in the big lie. We got to remember that the people who are pushing this, they are the minority. They're the loud minority. And it gets a lot of airplay in the media, but they're still the minority. The majority of us in this country are in the middle, and we agree on most things. We've got to remember that. We've got to remember that and become the loud majority. We've got to do that.
That goes back to, excuse me, that goes back to what you were saying earlier about us being able to at least agree on reality, on facts. I think it's very important. And I do want to get more into that, but I need to take a quick break, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right.
And we're back. This is a very quick break.
That was quick.
Now, the other day, the distinguished gentlelady from Georgia got lit up like a Christmas tree by someone who might be your colleague, should you be successful in defeating her. Rep. Jamie Raskin tore her a new one when she said that the money that we're sending Ukraine goes to Nazis. And she's been notably, anti-Ukraine and anti-Zelensky. Where do you stand on this?
I am pro-democracy. Putin is nothing more than a thug, a KGB thug who wants to impose his will on the Ukrainians. And look, they're not having it. We should be doing everything we can to support them in the fight for democracy. We need to be, let me go back. I'm glad to see that our relationship with NATO has been repaired under this administration, and NATO is now stronger than ever. So we've got to keep doing the work. We've got to keep supporting Ukraine because we can't let Putin and his adventurism go any further.
Now, if you are successful in defeating Marjorie Taylor Greene, you will be a part of that body that will be voting on things like, for instance, last night, they approved, along with, I think was it 149 Republicans went along with the $40 billion aid package. There was a lot of criticism from the right they were saying, oh, we're spending 40 billion over there, but we don't have child, Similac or child formula, baby formula here, which is like such a false
it's a red herring
equivalency there.
Because when have they ever cared about women taking care of babies? When they're trying to cut programs that do just that. So you can't, again, red herring. We've got to do the right thing here. It's not about politics for me. It's always about right and wrong, common sense things that we're supposed to be doing.
Speaking of them not caring about women taking care of babies, I have a question here from Brooklyn Wifey, that's my wife. She wants to know, what's your position on the Supreme Court voting to overturn Roe v. Wade?
Simple as this. I stand with most Americans, the almost 80% of Americans who think Roe should stay in place. Full stop. I mean, that's where I am on this. I'm a pro-choice candidate. I believe in women's right, their bodily autonomy, and the privacy. I think that's a decision. Abortion is a decision. Even though I'm anti-abortion, I wish there weren't a need for abortion, but we all know that there are. It's a very nuanced topic. And I respect people who disagree with me on that. I respect their sincerity. But at the end of the day, I think that should be between a woman and her doctor, her family, and if you're a religious person, between you and your pastor or priest or whatever. The government has no place in that. I don't believe in government mandated pregnancies. Full stop.
Agreed. 1,000% agreed. I got a question for you about your opponent. Some people are calling her MTG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
MTG.
clever, quite clever.
So recently, a group of citizens sued to have her taken off of the ticket,
Mm-hmm.
based on her involvement on January 6th. The lawsuit was unsuccessful. The judge ruled in her favor. It's still up to Raffensperger,
Secretary of State.
but right. But
I think
my
he's already
question,
accepted that opinion. I think she's fine. She's on the ballot now. We're
so
going to
my
have to
question to
remove her
you
at the ballot box. Go ahead.
is: would you prefer that she were taken off the ballot, or would you prefer beating her in a head-to-head straight up?
Again, I got into this race to remove the threat. No matter how that threat is removed, it needs to be removed. And I am perfectly fine with defeating her at the ballot box.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's a very good answer. I have a question here from Larry, who wants to know. So candidates inevitably get blindsided by their opponents' what they call oppo research. These are people who do nothing but spend hours and days and weeks looking into your past to try to trip you up. What are the issues that candidates will try to twist against you so that your supporters, know how to defend against them?
Well, instead, I'm going to answer that question a different way. I'm going to tell you right now that I've served this country honorably for almost 30 years. That's the important thing. People are going to say, oh, he's never been an elected official, spent most of his time overseas. Don't worry about it. Those are all distractions. No matter what they come at me with, it's a distraction. Full stop. That's what they're going to do. Oh, he's a communist. I think they're already saying that. They're going to talk about all kinds of things that have nothing to do with my service to this nation. What you need to understand is I've served the nation honorably for almost 30 years. I still have a security clearance. I could go today in Congress and sit on a secure briefing tomorrow in a skiff because I have a security clearance, and that's about how long it takes for them to transfer it. So anything they say about me, it's going to be a distraction.
Well,
I ignore it.
I, for one, I'm not a Georgia resident, but I think a lot of us, watching from a distance, we're kind of fed up with what we're seeing from your opponent. I mean,
Georgians are too. Trust me.
There used to be a time when there was like some kind of decorum, when there was a level of behavior that was expected, not just from a congressperson, but from an adult. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing gazpacho police, and every other day there's some kind of crazy scandal involving her or her associates.
Those are designed to distract you from the real issues. Take your eye off of the ball, lose sight of the big picture. That's what those things are designed to do. We've got to stay focused. What we need to be focusing on are voting rights. We need to be focusing on the courts. We need to be focusing on getting everybody out to vote. Everybody, come on out and vote. Don't lose your voice. Your vote is your voice. That's why they're trying to take it away from you. With all sincerity, people. I sat down and I talked with Ambassador Andrew Young about the fight that he had in the 50s with Dr. King and John Lewis, everything that they went through for us to be able to vote. We can't take it for granted. This is a hard thing that we have to do, but it's a hard thing that we must do. We've got to show up in numbers so big that they can't deny. give us a mandate.
You mentioned Ambassador Andrew Young, and I just want to point out, he's one of many individuals who has endorsed you. That includes Congressman Eric Swalwell, Senator Max Cleland, Senator Jen Jordan, also the organizations Vote Vets. I'm familiar with them.
Yep.
And No Dem Left Behind, which is a great group. They support people who are running in rural
Correct. Rural districts.
districts. And The Collective. You've got a very diversified collection of endorsements,
Along with
Here-
Moms Demand Action and the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. So we've had some pretty good endorsements, and that's I'm honored that they've stepped in and said we believe in this candidate, and I'm also honored for the over 350,000 people who've donated to our campaign and said we believe in this district, and they're ready to see Marjorie Taylor Greene out of our house.
I got a tough question for you. This is a tough one.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Speaking of endorsements, now you stated that your goal is to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene from office no matter what. Now, I believe your primary is coming up not next week, the week after, right? Is it the 24th?
Yes.
Okay, 24th. If for some reason you are not successful in winning that primary, are you willing to support whoever wins that primary in their campaign against Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. However, I should say I fully anticipate that I'm going to win this primary. But without a doubt, we will come together. Everyone else that's running in this race, everybody's running for the right reasons that I see. So, and they all want to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they recognize her as a threat to our democracy. So that's, I would definitely get behind whoever the candidate is. But again, I fully anticipate being that candidate.
I love the confidence, number one. And number two, I love the fact that you did not even hesitate. You are mission oriented, mission focused. And I love that. This is what we need. This is what we need in the Democratic Party, is people to put their differences to the side and let's work together on a common goal. Yeah.
We've seen that whole circle firing squad from Democrats. I'm not about any of that. I'm not attacking any of them. Don't need to. It's not what it's about. I got into this race for one reason, and that was to remove a threat from our democracy. Full stop.
Full stop. Okay, so that is as good a point as any for us to move on to my favorite part of the show, and that is our guessing game. Now, how this works is that I will be giving you a choice of 4 different categories. One is name that disco tune.
Mm-hmm.
One is name that Billy Joel song. Another one is I should have known that. And this is kind of like a trivia thing where these are things that you should know, but maybe you don't.
Okay.
And the last one is guess that TV show character quote.
Okay.
So those are the categories. Which one are you interested in trying your luck at?
All right. What's the fan favorite?
Well, the fan favorites they tend to be the music ones, because then they get to hear Brooklyn Dad sing a tune, and then you have to guess what the tune is.
All right. Well, let's do that one. Name that tune.
All right. So those music ones, it's between disco or Billy Joel.
Let's see. How good am I at Billy Joel songs? It's been a while. Let's go with the disco one, I guess. All right.
Okay, let me see. Where's my here we go. There's lyrics here. Okay. So if you get it right, then I will be striking this cowbell.
More cowbell, please. All right.
And if you get it wrong,
I'll probably be hearing a lot of that.
All right. You ready? Here's the first one. Oh, mind you. So I'm looking for the name, either the name of this song
Okay.
or the artist.
The artist.
Either
Okay.
one will work.
Artist or song. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah is melting in the dark. All the sweet green icing flowing down. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it, 'cause it took so long to bake it.
Nope. Drawing a blank.
What's that?
Drawing a blank.
Well, my friend, we were looking for Donna Summer, MacArthur Park.
Oh, yeah. Man.
No
Yeah,
worries, no worries. You got some time to redeem yourself here.
Okay.
Here's the next one. Hand me down my walking cane, hand me down my hat. Hurry now and don't be late, 'cause we ain't got time to chat. You and me, we're going out to catch the latest sound, guaranteed to blow your mind so high you won't come down. Hey y'all, prepare yourself for the blah blah blah.
Rubber Band Man.
Yeah!
There we go.
There you go. Let's see, where are we? Boom. Rubber Band Man, which this song was featured in the Avengers Infinity War, I believe it was. Yeah.
One of them. One of those deals with, yeah. That's right. With the not the raccoon guy, yeah.
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians,
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right.
Okay, here's the next one. My baby moves midnight. It goes right on till the dawn. My woman takes me higher. My woman keeps me warm. What you doing in your bed in your back? What you doing in your bed in your back?
Know the tune, but I can't think of the song.
Blah 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 blah. Know
the tune, just can't think of the name of the song or the artist off the top of my head.
We were looking for the Bee Gees. You should be dancing, yeah.
That should have been a gimme. Yeah.
No worries, no worries. We got more for you. We got more. You are now thinking to yourself, why did I agree to do this show?
You know, it's out of my genre, right?
Okay. Here's the next one. Oh, baby, my heart is full of love and desire for you. Now come on down and do what you got to do. You started this fire down in my soul. Can't you see it's burning out of control? Come on, satisfy the need in me. There's only your good loving can set me free.
Recognizing the tune, however, comma.
Need your loving, baby. Need it, need it. Doom, 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 doom.
It's gonna be one that I should know, but still drawing a blank. Yeah.
This was Thelma Houston. Don't leave me this way.
Yeah. Man.
Okay, hang on. We're going to our lightning round here. I feel like this one you are going to get. You ready for this?
Okay. Let's see.
You get extra bonus for this one.
I redeem myself completely or just extra bonus points?
Completely.
All right.
Complete redemption.
No pressure. Let's see.
She's a very kinky girl.
Rick James, come on. I mean,
There you go.
everybody knows Rick James.
Well, you got it on the first line. So well done for that one. Let's see. Boom. Okay. What do I have left here? Hang on. We're in redemption time now. Okay. Here we go. Lovely is the feeling now.
Michael Jackson.
Feeling. What?
Michael Jackson. That's it.
Temperature's rising now.
Oh, yeah. Classics.
There we go. You are on a roll, sir. You're on a 2-song roll.
You know,
Don't stop till you get enough.
Michael Jackson albums, come on, those are, I think every one of those are a hit. So,
But he helped define disco. People don't realize it. Disco gets a bad rap from people, but you know what? Michael Jackson was in there too.
Michael Jackson was the guy.
All right, here's another one. I feel like you should get this. You might not, but let's see.
Okay.
To my surprise, listen, 100 stories high. People getting loose, y'all. They're getting down on the roof. The folks are screaming out of control. It was so entertaining. When the boogie started to roll, I heard somebody say, burn, baby, burn. Blah, 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 blah.
Disco Inferno. Yep.
Yeah. My friend, you are right there in complete.
There you go.
Complete redemption. There we go.
Shouldn't have missed the Bee Gees song, but
Oh, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. You've done very well. And the tweeps here, the viewers are pleased.
Outstanding.
They are pleased.
Cutting me some slack, I see. That's good.
Okay. Last but not least, we are at the part of the show that is called My Favorite Things. And let me see, where is it here? Boom. Boom. My favorite things. And this is just a rapid fire. There are no right or wrong answers. This is just things that you like. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Favorite Western movie?
Favorite Western? Man, there's so many I've seen from a long time ago. My favorite one. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
So many.
Favorite kind of music?
I don't have one particular favorite kind of music. I have one that I listen to most, which is country, of course, the newer stuff. But I also listen to rap. I listen to R&B. I listen to
country is your jam.
Jazz. I listen to rhythm and blues. Yeah, country is what I listen to more now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The older I get, the more country I listen to.
Interesting. Is that because that's primarily what folks are listening to where you live?
I don't know what everybody else listens to. It's just, I've been listening to country since I was a kid, but the older I get, the more I listen to it. So,
okay. All right. Favorite TV show to binge watch?
Favorite to binge watch. I'm kind of on Ozark right now.
Ah, yeah.
So,
it's so
even
good.
though I don't get to binge
I'm not
watch
going to spoil it for you.
I'm kind of on that right now. So that's I'd have to go.
What season are you on?
I'm on the final season. I haven't finished it yet, so
okay.
Been busy.
Buckle up. That's all I'm going to say. Buckle up.
I've been busy.
Favorite supermarket?
It depends on what I'm buying. It's either Ingles or Walmart. I don't know if they have Ingles where you are. It's kind of like
I've never
Kroger.
heard of it, but I love hearing about supermarkets that are like, I've heard of Circle K. I'm not sure if Circle K is a supermarket, but I've heard of it. It's like a place where people go to get food. We have some folks saying, Meek Speeds is saying Ingles. They know they're Ingles. Okay.
I like Ingles for the deli. So if I want to get the deli, Ingles is the spot because, man, the chicken that they cook in there, it's ridiculous. I love it. And
Interesting.
the kids like everything else, but Walmart for the practical in and out stuff. That's
favorite fast food chain.
I'm a classic guy, so it's McDonald's.
Mickey D's.
Mickey D's.
Why? Is it the fries?
Oh, it's the fries, definitely. It's definitely the fries. I mean, they're something about them, man. There's nothing quite like them.
Yeah, as long as you get them hot and crispy.
As long as you get them hot and without salt. I like it without salt.
Yeah. Well, that's the trick. I don't know if you're aware of that. You got to tell them no salt, and then you get them fresh. Yeah. Favorite sports team?
Depends on the sport. But I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons because I've been riding with them for so long, since I was a kid. But, spending time over in Europe, my favorite football team, European football, is FC Bayern Munich because I lived there for a long time. So.
Interesting. Favorite hangout in Georgia?
Favorite hangout in Georgia? I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, if you only have one place you can go to, and you just want to chill and you like the vibe and the environment, where's that? What's that one place?
Any Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse.
It's a restaurant.
Okay. Favorite Twitter account?
Marcus for Georgia.
It's a good answer. Chicken and waffles or steak and eggs?
Steak and eggs.
Orange juice or apple juice?
Orange juice.
Pizza or burgers?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. It's a tough call. I'm going to have to go with a good burger, not just any burger, but a really good burger done on the grill. It's better than a slice of pizza.
Burger.
You're a New Yorker. You probably take some issue with that because you guys got great slices there, but
we do.
When you get a good home cooked burger, you can set it up the way you want. I'll take that over a slice of pizza any day.
Okay. All right. Bagel or donut?
I'm about to upset a lot of people, especially your New York base, but donuts.
You'd be surprised. People really are split when it comes to bagels or donuts, even New Yorkers.
I think New York's it's a bagel place. You guys got you got all kinds of bagel shops. And, I'm just a simple.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's people who will swear by Dunkin' Donuts, of all places. For me, I prefer Krispy Kreme donuts to Dunkin' Donuts, but people will fight me on that too.
Well, Krispy Kreme's got the better glaze donuts. Yeah. They've got the glaze game sealed. Dunkin' Donuts has got some other good flavors. I like their blueberry ones because they're thicker, but yeah, glazed donuts, again, they have to be fresh. The light has to be on, and Krispy Kreme, you have to get them fresh, and they're just melting in your mouth. I love those.
If you could live anywhere on Earth, where would that be?
Anywhere on Earth. I'd have to stay right here.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so it always fascinates me,
I've been to 46 different countries. I've been all over the world, but man, at the end of the day, I went out into the world and I came back in. And this is it. I'm back home.
Love it. If you could do any job for one day, what would that be?
Probably something like what you do.
Really?
Yeah. Like Jimmy Kimmel type deal. Take his show for one day and just interview as many people as I could and have interesting conversations. That's me.
Okay, so just so we're clear, this what I do is nothing like Jimmy
Something
Kimmel's.
like that. It's something like that.
It's nothing. It's nothing like it. It's similar in that I get to interview people, but that's where the similarity.
That's where the comparison ends.
Yeah. Any particular charities or foundations or organizations that are close to your heart or that you support?
Well, being a master mason, Shriners is something that's important to me, taking care of kids and the work that they do there. So that's important to me as well. Our homeless veterans.
Shriners.
Yep. Shriners Hospital.
I've seen those commercials there. They're very touching. Yeah.
And, you know, anything with helping our veterans, our homeless vets, you know, we've got to take better care of those who served our nation and are dealing with issues. So anything like that's high on my list.
Are you going to make that a staple of your campaign, of your candidacy? Like, you know,
well, I talk about taking care of our veterans and seniors all the time. So that's one of the big legislative things that, you know, I think we can do better on. And if I would love to sit on the Veterans Affairs Committee if elected to Congress. So,
Marcus, I got to thank you for agreeing to be on this show. I am really excited about you, your candidacy, and what you bring to the table. I think Georgia the Georgians that helped put Marjorie Taylor Greene in office are probably a little bit embarrassed about what they did, and you give them the opportunity to correct that mistake by putting someone who is distinguished, someone who has served with honor, served their country with honor, someone who's got an excellent head on their shoulders, who's got a great heart. I'm looking forward to you to you winning your race. I know I'm not really a journalist, so I can be partial. I don't have to worry about journalistic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, no matter what, they will have a choice this time. I will not drop out of this race. Not for anything.
The next time I see you, I need to know what Western what your
There's so many, man. You know, I think back to all the things that I watched in the 80s. I mean, those are some of the good ones and some of the newer remakes. So I'm gonna have to think about what's my favorite. Yeah. So Lone Ranger, you know, there's so many stuff.
Don't say Lone Ranger.
Man, come on, it's a classic.
You know what? 310 to Zuma. To Yuma, excuse me.
310 to Yuma was good. You know, and it was okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Unforgiven. You know, I know we're not supposed to like Clint Eastwood, but whatever. That was a great movie.
It was a classic, Unforgiven. Yeah. There's so many. I'd have to go back and look through a collection and find out which one do I like the most. I mean,
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Here's another one.
The Bad, the Ugly. I mean, there's so many. I couldn't pick one, really. I mean, I can't even pick my favorite Marvel movie. So
that would be Avengers Infinity War for me.
It's okay, but you know.
Yeah. Folks, this is Marcus for Georgia. Marcus, the number 4, Georgia. This is his Twitter account. Give him a follow. Give him your support. And you can check out his website right here. This is the campaign website, Marcus, the word for FOR Georgia, marcusforgeorgia.com. Once again, sir, I wish you success in the primary coming up 2 weeks from now.
Thank you.
And in the general elections where you can take down that embarrassment to Georgia.
Well, we're going to keep getting out and doing the work to do just that.
And do me a favor, just sit tight right there. I'm going to sign off here for a minute.
All right.
Thank you again. And folks, thank you for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And if you have not yet gotten your shot, what on earth are you waiting for? Do it. Just get the jab. If you are so inclined, please wear a mask. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And I look forward to seeing you here at my next show, where we'll be interviewing Sherry Jacobus a week from today. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.